Yep. Perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to share my other screen. Okay. Greg, you can see that, right? You're muted, buddy. Give me a thumbs up.
Yeah, it's good.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. I'll probably pop out of the screen sharing because I know for those of you online, it gets a little boring. Um, so I'm sending around. Hi. Everything good? Everything. Yeah, it's all good. I'm just doing what Dave did 2 years ago. That's what I think Dave put these together. Yeah, it's all good. Different? Do we need to talk? Okay. Before I forget, for those of you who are Cub leaders, it should be all of you, who are sending, hopefully, our older Cub Scouts to Webelows Woods. Jay wanted me to let everyone know that the effort at Webelows Woods this year is to actually cover a series of requirements, at least three, that the Webelos have to do, usually in the outdoors. And a lot of us for that, this is going to be before we really get into the rhythm of den meetings. So it might be very helpful to have people go and record what the scouts did, what they accomplished at Webelos Woods. Know that it's not just necessarily go run around, get wet, get dirty, suck down a bunch of sugar. There is going to be some hopefully advancement. And I think you'll probably hear more about it when you get there and check in, and maybe even Saturday morning what their program is. But know that there is going to be some advancement program at Webelos Woods. So that's what I understand. Hi.
Ah, so you can come.
There's true, yes. And before I forget, can I introduce you? We have a new auspicious commissioner in the room. Patrice Lampkin has offered graciously to step in as our Cub Scout Roundtable commissioner, starting slowly, right? She's wearing the Cub Master patch. She's transitioning out of that over the next 8 months ish. Eight, nine? Oh, sooner. Awesome. I love it. So she'll be standing in front of you more often, which is great because I love doing this. But I'm tired, and Patrice has lots of awesome ideas. I love it. She's going to help us plan a really great program for 2026. So if you have ideas and things you want to talk about, tell Patrice.
One quick thought for next meeting, we're looking for doing a presentation on the fun and unusual things that packs do. You might have seen an email from me to you. If you didn't, please reach out, you could be my email. Like for instance, Pack 3 Fruit does a Learn to Curl event every year. It doesn't have to be weird, but it could also be like just something that's super popular with your pack. Mail me that idea. I'm gonna put together a presentation on it.
This is great because scouting is one of those activities where we can learn all kinds of crazy things that you'd never do otherwise, like curling, right? For me, it was skeet shooting. I would have never gone out and shot clay pigeons out of the sky, except for I was a scout. And boy, howdy, was that fun. So, okay, sorry I had the slides on shared the whole time. Here in the room, it's easier to not think about that. So we are here this evening to discuss one of the topics that I've been talking about for over 10 years, and I hope it's near and dear to your heart because it is to mine. And I had a lot of experience with trying to make this work, trying to figure out how to welcome new families into my pack. Um, how do we make sure that when somebody signs up, they stick, they keep coming, they feel like they're part of your community, right? And I call that welcoming new families into your pack. This presentation has evolved over the past 10 years. I think the first time I presented it was 2016, and I had it in my mind in 2015-ish as I was teaching for the first time at University of Scouting. And how do we make this work, right? And a lot of it comes from really boots on the ground, right? What do we do to make sure that our efforts at recruitment yield something important? And I will couch this with true, honest fact. It has been 5 years since I've recruited a Cub Scout directly. So that's why we're going to have a discussion. And I'm just going to help kind of guide the thing along because I can tell you what's worked for me. And that was between 10 and 5 years ago. And then you can tell me what's working for you, or maybe what's not working for you. And the first thing I want to cover, I want to dig in deep at the start because as we all know, there are barriers when we have a young youth from elementary school that come in. and they're interested, right? We recognize that we're selling scouting, parents, guardians, sometimes grandparents, right? They're the ones making the decision whether or not Tommy or Susie are going to join your pack. But at the end of the day, the Cub Scouts, if the potential Cub Scout is interested, it is mom, usually mom, let's be honest with ourselves, sometimes dad, sometimes grandma, grandpa, who makes the decision, and sometimes they're hesitant. What makes a parent or grandparent or guardian hesitant in terms of joining Cub Scouting? Sure.
So when I heard Cub Scouting to people, usually what comes up is two things. There's gonna be religion,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be, the, like, the history of the LGBTQ community.
Okay.
Scouting as well.
Okay.
Less so the other things that have happened in scouting, but usually I talk about it, we're agnostic, so we're able to talk about our experience in scouting.
Yeah.
Agnostic, and also, the support and how scouting has evolved their thinking
Absolutely.
to
Yeah.
be much more inclusive,
Yeah.
and I think inevitably that's really what saves scouting.
Perfect. You're already ahead of me. How do we deal with this? Anybody else? What have you experienced? Go ahead. From 195, right? Okay, awesome.
uh, Say that it's like the time commitment and the
Yes.
especially like now
Yep.
when you have little starting sports at 4 or 5.
Yep.
And it's like how are you choosing like really what to do, and like as a family really like what can you take on, and
Time and cost, I heard, right? Yep.
and the initial cost is kind of a big sell.
Yeah, it's tough. Anybody else? Those are great, by the way. Others?
We had some subsidizing of our scout dues. I've got a national buck for the back,
Okay,
because we had Benevity and Intel. So
right.
we had a lot of money coming from that, so we were able to keep it pretty cheap. That just costs far more than
Yeah.
But we had to change that because Intel did a lot of cutting
Mhm.
and said henceforth, so did a lot of the
So finances.
did a lot of finances. So
So-
that was one of those things we charged like $40.
It was the cost of the dues?
So
Okay,
we'll do everything for like
For the pack.
$40.
okay. And I hear a lot of
Would've been
pushback
pretty
too from the national dues. Like it's basically $120 for the privilege of being a scout for a year. That's a lot. It is, right? Do you have a thought?
Yeah, the other thing I've heard is it's too small.
Ah, okay. That's not on my list, but that's a good one though. And it's challenging, right? When you're hovering around 10, 12 or something like that, and how do you have a dynamic thing? I want to share a few that I had thoughts. And of course this tags right into my thing. I have experienced families that don't feel welcome. Somebody didn't come say hi, they feel like they're marginalized, they're not brought in. Usually the youth are welcomed. They're having fun with their friends or whatever, but the adults don't feel like they've always been brought in. I've experienced poor communication. What day are we meeting this week? Which kind of meeting? Who do I listen to? Where is this? A lack of a plan, or a better set, a calendar, right? What are we doing next month? That kind of thing. And I've seen some packs that have an amazing calendar. We'll get back to this, and I'll dig into each of these a little bit. Lack of transparency comes into what you were talking about a little bit too. How do we pay for this, right? What do our fundraisers go towards? How does that work? Well, my kid just sold a whole bunch of popcorn. Where did that money go? Financial commitment estimate, finances, perfect, and time commitment. How much time is this going to take? Can I get my kid from soccer to scouts and somewhere in the middle hit Subway, right? And I'll mention at the end, because I experienced it a little bit. I had a few questions in the 2019, 2018 about all the negative press. I hope you're not hearing that as much, but it's always good to lock and load something of, I'll talk about this in a few minutes. Here's what we're doing to keep our youth safe, right? So let's keep that in mind as we go. So my thoughts on eliminating some of those barriers, and a few of you had ones that I didn't even think of. We can talk about that. For me, the most important thing is that your pack has clear and regular communication, as open and transparent as you can be. The pack meeting is this Wednesday. Everybody's welcome. Bring your 5-year-old. Bring everybody, right? Or this is den meeting week. When I was committee chair for my pack, I sent out a newsletter every Sunday evening. Quick story. We had a grandma who brought her grandkids who did not use email. It was to me, and I took it on myself, to call grandma every single Sunday and tell her, Helen, this week's a den meeting. We're meeting here. And yes, it was a pain, but those 3 kids got to participate in scouting. So that's just what I did for like 3 years. It was a lot, believe me. Um, Results from good planning, calendar. Here's what we're doing for the next 12 months. Join us is a powerful message. You've heard me say this if you've been in this room at all. I love good, solid calendars that tell me where I'm going to be in 6 months and what awesome adventure my scout's going to be on. Policies and planning transparency. You know, we go to summer camp in July and we'd love to have everybody come with us, or gosh, this thing over here is a den activity. It's for these, you know, that kind of thing. Or policies in terms of fundraising. We do popcorn. The popcorn goes to support this. How much does your scout get to carry towards their summer camp costs? Stuff like that, right? Or you have a different fundraiser. We sell wreaths. What does that go towards? How does this work? Again, financial expectations. The joke is, of course, it's only an hour a week. For your scouts, I hope that's generally true. For us that wear the uniform, different story. And again, have something ready to go to explain to somebody who's never been in scouting. What is this YPT/safeguarding youth thing? We've all done it. Everybody's been through it. Here's what they talk about. Here's how we keep your youth safe, right? Have that response ready to go. We set a tone. Yeah, you have a question?
I have a question about the calendar.
Go ahead.
So we would like to do the indoor climbing, assuming they have it again this
Yeah.
year. We'd like to go to haunted trails. I know they've had that the last couple of years.
Okay.
I don't see it on the calendar.
That's a
We'd like to go
channel.
to a super weekend. If
Yeah.
there's going to be a Cub Scout super weekend, but I don't know if there will be. So
You bring up an excellent thing that the council calendar is challenging right now. I don't know.
then they can
Yeah.
volunteer, so it's hard for them to. connect.
And another good example is my pack did Aubrey Lodge Snow Day. Usually it was February, January, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And they don't even release that until October-ish timeframe usually. And so we kind of put down, we'll do that this time frame. And
It
so
worked really well for me.
Good.
Is I had a handout, especially towards the beginning of the school year, and it had a calendar, and the things that we knew were on there, but I actually didn't put the exact dates for things off in May or whatever. Okay. And I listed, what the pack meeting theme was and what the pack activity was.
Right.
And some of them had asterisks next to it, and down at the bottom, the asterisk said
TBD.
tentative,
Yeah.
tentative. And that went down well with everybody.
Yep.
They had an idea of the kinds of things we were doing.
Yep.
It was not a lie, but it also didn't, I do have that list.
Yeah.
I kept
And
dates next to.
We
things.
do that for summer camp this time of year. We're gonna go in probably July, dates to come. And the important thing is that then you have like revision 2 of your calendar in October, revision 3 in like March. It's okay. Here's the new calendar. Or even better, if you can put it online digitally somewhere and keep updating it. I like Google Calendar myself. We've had a bunch of different ones. Whatever works for your pack. I'm not telling you how to do it. I will say a one sheet that you can put on the refrigerator with a magnet is amazing. And I'm a big fan of that. And I'll show you an example of that in a bit. What really helps to create a welcoming environment, aside from Josh and his calendar, what helps when you have new families come in to feel welcome? What do you guys think? Somebody says yes. Okay. Who? Who says hi? Everybody? Okay. Yeah, we have a volunteer. Okay.
I was gonna say, I say hi, that's you.
That's awesome. Now, some of us are introverts. That's okay, right? We'll get to that. Very good. Yes. And that's a little bit later in this in the slideshow. And we'll talk about that. But yes, new parent coordinators are awesome. And the idea is you're a welcome wagon and you say hi to everybody, right? Anything else? What helps for somebody to feel welcome?
After I say hi, if the kid is seemingly comfortable with it, I offer to walk them over to the den they would be part of. Then they just get to spend the rest of the meeting with that den, having, introducing, go up to the den leader and be like, hey, so and so might be in your den this year, and they pull them in. And
or maybe it's the first
if
den
they're
meeting
comfortable,
and they've joined.
not
Yeah.
the parent,
Yeah.
But that gets them involved and also gives you the parent free to talk.
Yep. Where did I go? There we go. Josh picked up on what I was talking. I'll get back to your thing in just a second. I promise. My slides went to places. I didn't explicitly say it, but I was presuming we were in a meeting, a den meeting, a pack meeting, something like that. And Josh is exactly correct. Helping the scout and their family get to where they're going, because a lot of places where we meet is not obvious. This big church or a big school, where am I going? Signs. Scouts are this way. And then when you get there, having some sort of especially for families that have never done this before, your kid's in first grade, they're a tiger, they're over here, right? Their color is orange. Is it still orange? It's still orange, right? Okay. And then to coordinate that with school grades, because tiger den number 6, grandma has no idea, right? So help them to translate that. Okay, your first grader is in den 6 tigers, or whatever it is for your pack, right? Name tags. Dave's not here, although your pack has a great tradition, Patrice, and Dave made me one of everybody who's all the adults got name tags. Just have a name tag, and they just whatever they're wearing, right? Or does that is it leaders? And this is great because when I walk into Patrice's meeting and I forgot Patrice's name, I just glance, oh, it's Patrice, that's right, or whatever. Now, we can't force our new folks that came in for the first time to slap on a name tag. That seems a little weird, unless you're in a family reunion or something like that. But helping people get to know you as the leader. How do I do that? I have another thing I want to tell you about when you're not in person, how you can have people get to know you and your leadership team in a little bit. And that is the next bullet point, actually, and I'll just explain this later. Having something where there's a welcome guide. It could be a website, it could be a physical copy, it could be a PDF. Here's everything you need to know about scouting in our pack and us, and I'll show you that in a bit. And of course, volunteers who are approachable or friendly, the new family, new member coordinator, right, is the name of it. Show of hands, one per pack, who has a new member coordinator. Yeah, okay. All right, fine. I will be transparent. Where is it? Transparency in here somewhere. I never had a new parent coordinator, a new member coordinator. And I had a membership and recruitment chair, which I was really happy to have because that made a huge difference. But the idea of a welcome wagon is awesome. And that right person, find the right person with the right personality who's willing to just say hi to everybody, get to know everyone's name, and then they know who they are when they show up. Communication for me is a big one. I get frustrated personally when I don't get communication from folks. And Patrice is amazing at communicating. By the way, guys, talk about quick responses. This is what we want to work on as leaders in our pack. Who is the one that's sort of the communication coordinator? At the pack level, and then also at the den level, when Tommy Cub Scout can't make it to the den meeting, the parent, the grandparent needs to know who to email, who to call, who's their den leader, what's their contact information, right? Who sends out reminders? Like I said, I did it once a week. I was the one that did it. You could have a pack secretary. You could have your new member coordinator be on top of that. Whoever's got that communication ability. There are some people in this world that for the life of them cannot be communicative. It's true. You laugh, but it's true, right? And I say this as a district commissioner who tries to help each and every pack with renewal, but used to be recharter every year. And there are people that just don't want to be contacted. It happens. What platform do you use? Do you use email? Do you communicate on Facebook? We used to go through Scoutbook. They had a thing. I don't know if that's working anymore. I've kind of abandoned that as a communication method. What works for you guys? I'm curious in terms of communication to your packs. Anybody want to share? Go ahead.
We have a monthly newsletter that's emailed.
Okay.
And then we use Discord banner.
Okay. The 195 has had a Discord since you started it. I think it was you started, Josh? Like 5 or 6 years ago or something, which works for you guys, I've heard, right?
It does. It's a hard, I mean, especially when you have new families.
Yeah.
It's a hard learn. Like it's still, it's not something that's just like super intuitive.
Right.
So that's a really hard.
So you have to like sit down and train them.
Doing like this is the QR code, like this is how. So I'm like last year, no one really walked me through how I'm joining these meetings online.
Yeah.
So it's like I went through that, and now I'm like, how can I help people have it easier?
Yeah.
The oddly good thing about Discord is there's some parents, often dads, who would otherwise not be involved, with the person in the house that knows Discord really well.
So all of a sudden they're roped in.
It's like communicating in a bizarre way.
Yeah.
They're like handles are very strange.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody else?
Maybe,
We do. We do email and
Okay.
WhatsApp.
Oh, WhatsApp. Okay, interesting. Okay.
I just created a den chat,
Den chat.
yeah.
Okay.
On the phones.
Okay.
But I think since will have Apples, some will have Samsungs.
Okay.
So somebody drops, right, we have a whole new one, so we had to get a whole new one, just, we add to it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we did.
Oh, you mean group chat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Just a text list. Yeah.
We have a Facebook group. as
Okay.
well, So I do the whole email, and I also.
So multi-pronged approach sometimes. Anybody else want to share?
I'm with Heather, so.
Okay. Gotcha. I actually bought a domain name for my pack and created a mailing list that was hierarchical. So I could do the whole pack. I could do each individual den. I had leadership. It was a lot of maintenance, by the way. But it's the way it goes. And it worked well for me for about 5.5 years. They've since moved to, I think it's Google something, and they just do it differently. Consider what works for your families. I'm not going to tell you what's right, wrong, or otherwise. I personally, and it's because of a lot of what I do, they say, oh, we're on Facebook. And I'm like, Facebook again. If it works for your family, great. Your whole families are all on Facebook. They're willing to do that, great. TikTok's probably not the right answer. Right. Calendar, is it accessible? Right? Do you have it on a website, or do you hand it out every month? Here's what this new calendar is. Because our calendars can change, right? Something happens. Oh, we're not going to go up to Aubrey Lodge on this date in January. It's going to be in February. How do we make sure that people get the right updated information? Otherwise, they're waiting in the parking lot at 6:30 in the morning, waiting to go to Aubrey Lodge on the wrong Saturday, whatever it is. And most importantly, Josh will tell you about this. When you get a lead, any kind of lead, I've had people contact me on our Facebook page for our pack, which was more out facing, or the leads on my.scouting, follow up. And I'm going to talk a bit more about that as we go, but really reach out. And I've taken to what Josh has said, and you can correct me if I get this wrong, text them within 24 hours and then follow up with a phone call. That's the key. And it just shows that you care, you heard, you listened, and you want to have a conversation. Calendars. Every calendar needs to have all the den meetings, pack meetings as best you can. Might not know what's happening in May or June right now. That's okay. TBD. Outings, special events, summer camps. The more you can put on there, the more it looks like you know what you're doing and you're having an awesome time. That's the key for me. Questions on calendars? Cool. Finances. The annual cost to be a scout in your pack includes national dues, insurance, local council, and whatever your pack financially needs to make your pack go. Be clear. Costs $100, yeah, $200, fork it over is not the best way to present that, obviously. You're going to be asked about fundraising. Do we do it? How do we do it? When do we do it? How much does my scout or my scouts, my family benefit from that? If it all goes to the pack and the pack sucks it all up and it goes to paying for the Webelos to go to Webelos Woods, be careful about requiring fundraising. Some of our packs on the east side of our district were basically said, here's $700 in popcorn as your requirement to sell it to be a scout. It works for them, but it would really turn me off as a parent. And then when somebody says, and I'll show you this too, oh my gosh, it costs $135 to join today. What other support can you provide? The way that we did it was I had 2 sheets in my welcome guide. One was, here are the costs, and I broke it down, one-time costs like the uniform and stuff like that, and then recurring costs. And then the next page was fundraising. Here's what it costs. Here's how we're going to help you pay for it. And it worked sometimes, not always, but sometimes, because it can be sticker shock, right? It can be a challenge. Thoughts on finances and being clear?
I think the clarity is important, and not to over apologize for it.
Yeah.
Scouting is not cheap. Other things kids do are way more expensive.
Yeah.
So like when you come and say, it's, price is wild. A tiger uniform is like 160 if you're buying all brand new and not using any uniform closet.
Yeah.
They need to know it. Just say it. Don't apologize for it. It sets a weird tone to the conversation.
Yeah.
Now, recognize that a family needs assistance and delve into how to make it happen, but we're providing a thing of value.
Yeah.
apologize.
I always hesitate to compare it to soccer, baseball, lacrosse, whatever your favorite sport is. But you can. I've heard people do that, to play a year of soccer is, however many hundreds of dollars, and this is more benefit or less money. You can play that card, that's fine. I try to add value to what we do. Here's what your kid's going to learn. Here's the fun they're going to have, the friends they're going to make. Josh brought up a good point, and I wanted to make two things here. One is uniform closet. You can start to build a uniform closet with your pack, and I did this probably about nine or 10 years ago. I went to University of Scouting. Her name's Carol, if I remember right, and she had just hordes of uniforms to come back, mostly blue shirts, some tan, and some pants. And just say, hey, these are for my scouts, and just start picking, various sizes, and you can sew them up if you want and have them ready. So if somebody needs a uniform and can't afford it, or can't afford it yet because it's not in the budget, here, borrow this one. Done. Let us know when you're done with it. And I know some packs and troops have gone to the extent of sort of having a rotating closet where you pick one up at one point and then you drop it off later and it goes to the next scout. And go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, we have kind of a rotating closet, but
Mhm.
we're very open about it. Anyone
Yeah.
can take
Yeah.
our uniform. Like anyone can contribute.
Mhm.
I don't want to say how many pairs of pants we have.
Yeah.
Anyone can contribute. Anyone can.
And solicit at Rank Up in the spring.
Yeah.
A lot of family, I think a lot of leaders, especially the type of leader that comes to a round table, might be a little more nostalgic about it.
Hold on to those patches and stuff. Yeah.
A lot of parents do not. And
Yep.
you need to be clear that they're not required to turn it in, but just be like, hey, if this is not something, if this is not something that's going in a shadow box or whatever.
Yep.
Throw it in the box. We'll
Yep.
hand it out next year. So
Wash it up and get it ready for the next scout, right?
Every they do make excellent recruiting tables.
Yes, they do. Uniforms and patches. Yeah, absolutely. The other thing I wanted to mention is, and this is something my pack did somewhat frequently, is if a scout exited our program and did not, and it had a positive balance in their scout account, which, by the way, scout accounts are not verboten. You just have to be careful with it. We actually pushed all that money into a scholarship fund. And we kind of have a couple $100 usually balance, maybe 300, where if somebody came and this is hard for us, we'd split the difference with them on the cost. And it's just kind of the thing that we tried to do as much as we could. And then I got to a point where I was trying to help the scouts that were continuing and help them pay for their summer camp, especially if they had a big balance. But that's something that you can do, and know that the unit finance conversation will happen in a couple months when Dave Hammond's not in surgery. But there are things where your scout does fundraising under your chartered organization's umbrella. And in theory, it shouldn't go to another or chartered organization. So if they join a troop that's, a different org, it shouldn't follow them. However, if they join a troop, if you have a troop and a pack and a crew all chartered in the same organization, then it's great. They can follow them. So just detail on that one. A little too much detail, I think, for this. Time commitment. How much time is it going to take? How long are your den meetings? How long is too long of a pack meeting? Let's put it that way. Anybody? An hour is too long? Especially for what? The Lions? Oh my gosh. Okay.
chariot races, an hour is not.
Something that's fun and dynamic you can get away with. Yes. And I know that 195 took a break in the middle for a while, right? And had a part of a pack meeting. You took a break and then came back and finished it.
Yeah, we experimented with different structures. I mean, because one of the big things about pack meetings is that recognition, but
It can take a while.
in a way that it's not at the troop level.
Yep.
People that are both places. And, they need to learn a little bit about sitting and
Yep.
recognize clapping for their friend. But boy, for this 5-year-old, it's just that.
Yeah. And the point is, two things here. A 90-minute pack meeting for anybody's a long meeting. The second thing is, there was a year, it was 2014, September, I doubled the size of my pack. In that first meeting in September, we gave all the advancement recognition for the scouts that had gone to summer camp. And so all these parents were sitting and watching all these other kids get all this in 40 minutes. It took us. We had to redo how we do advancement. So be ready for that, right? Do the summer camp stuff beforehand, maybe. At an August picnic is how we ended up doing it. kind of try to think ahead on that. Have an answer for how many hours per week their scout will need to be here in uniform, ready to go. Is it a den meeting? Is it a pack meeting? Is it an outing? Do you have a weekend event every month? Do you have a hike of the month club? Do you have, whatever? And are they optional? Are they required? How does this work? When you get to Webelos and Arrow of Light, there's some little more intensity sometimes. You're gonna need to have a little bit more time. How are you gonna handle that? What about parents' time commitment? I know some units that require every family to sacrifice at least one adult to be registered in some capacity. Oftentimes it's a committee member, and then they sit in the back and do this. I'm here. What do you want? How do you engage the adults? How do you put them to use and give them something to do? And how much time is that going to take? If I'm in charge of your Pinewood Derby, how much time is that going to take? What time of year is that? I'd love to do that. Or maybe it's blue and gold, whatever. Be clear, right? Have those things. Here's a situation. This is, I think, Dave's scenario. Family has no history with scouting. They show up to your open house. They're excited. The scout is super excited. It's Gaga Ball pit. Oh my gosh. Ah! Right? Parents are hesitant. They're uncertain. What do you think they're looking for in this thing? Why would they be hesitant? Thoughts?
Should we ask them?
Ask the parents. Okay. What's the hang up? How are you feeling? Can I answer questions?
Right, you say, answer questions, and probably ask them, start going, how much time it's gonna cost?
Yeah.
How much money, what does it ever do, what can I think of?
Yeah.
Because there's competing. There's competing
Yeah.
time sinks.
Absolutely.
Right,
Sports,
yeah. So,
taekwondo, whatever.
Since it mentions dentistry with scouting, my master has a spiel that he likes to give new parents that explains that you don't have to have any
Yeah.
previous history in scouting. You can learn
Yep.
with your scout, there are tons of trainings to do, and you can have just as much fun as your scout, sometimes more.
That's awesome. I love that. Bills?
We're also still, we've been doing a lot of recruiting, and I think we're still finding that, when you're approaching someone that has little girls, they're
Mm.
still like, even, for females, it's like, they don't think, they're like, no, they look at their kiddo and it's like,
Okay.
they still don't realize,
Yeah.
that we allow girls.
Yeah. Because there's so much history there. This is the Boy Scouts. Well, now it's Scouts BSA, and now we welcome everyone. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Absolutely.
It's never been involved
Yeah.
in.
My thoughts on this, and we mentioned this earlier, use of time and resources. Is this going to be valuable for my family and for my youth? Is what I'm asking myself if I go into something. Is this going to be beneficial? Right? Do you have an awesome program? And notice I underlined and bolded and capitalized program, not amazing. I'd rather you have a pretty good program than no program at all. But they can tell. They can look at your calendar and say, "Oh, here's the program in one page." I have also found that expressing value, thanking people for being there, having the Cub Master say something, a little Cub Master minute at the end of your open house. This is the theme of the month. One of those 12 points of the Scout Law can, oh, wow. The other thing that's really fun, I talk about this when I have my spiel about how to do an open house, a join night, is if you have a moment where you're addressing all the parents, their perspective, and their scouts come in and join them, and you're looking to maybe wrap up the evening, right? And all of your scouts are there too, right? Just do this. Oh, super impressive. If you've taught your scouts what this is, right? How to get their attention, how you don't have to say anything. It's even better at the troop level, when you have a youth doing it. And the room is a buzz, and all they do is stand there and do this. And they're patient. It's the coolest thing. Go ahead.
I was just gonna add, so we had an open house
Mhm.
last night.
Oh,
and
nice.
One of the things that I heard a lot from the parents, many of the parents was asking questions, inquiring about how they thought their kid was going to fit into this program.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
my kid's not in sports, it
Okay.
doesn't do this and that. what can scouting offer to them?
Yeah.
My kid doesn't know anything about camping, never built a tent, never done, how.
So how do you
can
respond to
they-
that?
Well, so the response is easy, right? We can teach them everything.
Exactly.
Right?
You're Cub Scouts. You don't need to know anything.
Not done it. You know,
Yeah.
my scout doesn't like anything except bowling. Okay, well, you know what? Then we'll go bowling. You know, and so it's really, and then, you know, others were, you know, my scout or my kid is non-binary. So is this inclusive, you know? Tell me about the scouting and do we have anything to worry about here?
Yep.
So, you know, I think the message is just, you know, we can do, you know, anything.
Yeah.
We can.
It falls in
you
the
know,
guide to safe scouting. We're good to go, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
So, that's what I see a lot of the families and parents.
That's great.
look For is
Yeah.
knowing their kids.
Yeah.
Looking at how's my kid
Gonna fit here.
gonna fit here.
Yeah, okay. Good.
Something I found was helpful in moving some people over the hump was, you know, we talk about the program, especially when the youth are there.
Mhm.
But I make the switch talking to the parent about how it's really a character program.
Yep.
And that the program is there to, and I'm just flat open, but to trick the kids into having a good time.
Yeah.
One of my favorite examples, and I need to find out what to say now because this tiger like that doesn't exist anymore, but there was the magic one. And I said, the kids think they're learning magic tricks. We're just tricking them into getting in front of 50 kids and all of their parents and talking out loud and doing something in front of 150 people.
Potentially something silly, right?
You know?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that in doing that, campfire.
Yeah, absolutely. And the follow on to that, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Troop program, is a leadership program cleverly disguised as an outdoor program. So, and that transitions seamlessly for the most part, right? Thank you for sharing. That's awesome. And more from that, or?
Well, no, it's just, it's important when the families get a little too focused on the program and
Right.
they start thinking, well, am I actually gonna go camping? And you know,
Right.
like, do we, you know, does your pack goes camping once a year? Is this really an outdoor? Like,
Right.
that's not what it really is.
Yeah, and to be clear, every pack is different. Some packs go camping a lot and some go camping a little. There's no wrong answer, and whatever works for your families. Back to how do you fit in, right? I want to transition briefly. We've been talking about potentially like an open house, a join night, something like that. Let's talk about during the rest of the year, and I want to focus for a brief amount of time on the idea of always be recruiting. What does that mean to you when I say always be recruiting? Ooh, I like it. Nathan Keith would love that answer. Anybody else? What does it mean to always be recruiting?
Our pack did something new this year. First of all, we, showed up at the kinder fairs.
Okay, yeah.
Hadn't done it in a while.
Which is April, March?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's April, so it's all the new kinder families.
Yeah.
So, we did the west side because we were based out of Inlay, so Hillsborough has two
Yeah.
sides. So we only went to the one side. We met a lot of families there.
Yes.
Because we had no lions last year. So
Okay.
we have signed up, we have 5 lions.
That's
this year. So
awesome.
we're kind of rebuilding from the
Yeah.
start.
Okay.
We also did something new this year for fundraising.
Okay.
For, we did a hot dog stand
Mhm.
at the Parks and Rec. And we had a
Oh.
recruitment table.
Okay.
And we had our kiddos in their full uniforms with signs, walking through the crowd.
Okay.
And I think for us, just part of that is just, you don't see scouts a lot anymore in the community.
Mhm.
And I think anytime we're out, like we also ran a nature-based craft in July at Ringo Woods.
Mhm.
We were right at the beginning of the woods. Kids are there to play in the sand. We made like pine cones and wood necklaces. We had so many littles there.
Yeah.
And so much excitement. And we talked about leave no trace.
Okay.
And we were at the park in
That's
the
awesome.
summer with all our kids in full uniform.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of families that hadn't signed up to go, that had just come and were like, you're more than welcome to join us.
I'm gonna hang out. We're having fun.
And a few parents that were at the park, like on their own, came
Yeah.
to the park was.
These people look cool. They're doing something
So-
fun.
And these are great because even if those, a lot of those people are not in Penlay here. Not
Yeah.
playing back, but it makes them a soft target for the next time that
Yeah.
that runs into.
Absolutely. So these are great examples of how to be open and welcoming. And the thing that I wanted to mention here, this is what's known as dynamic recruitment, if you've heard of that phrase. Kathleen Jordan talks about, not Kathleen, Kayleen, what's her last name? Deathridge talks about this at University of Scouting. If you haven't signed up, you should. I think it's session 6 this year. Be open to scouts joining your pack any time of year. It doesn't matter if it's April, if it's October. My kid joined at the end of October, right around Halloween, and he did fine. He joined as a tiger. There were 15 requirements at the time. Invite them in to see how it works. You don't have to like sign on the dotted line today. Come in and join a den meeting and see what you think. Don't worry about rank, especially if it's later in the year. Got to hit Bobcat, right? And then go from there. If they make it, great. If not, on to the next thing.
And I would just point, help your den leaders realize not to freak out.
Absolutely.
A lot of den leaders will be like, how am I gonna get this new scout? I've already done.
Yeah,
If a
that's not
family
the
is
important
joining in
thing.
April, they're not the kind of family that cares about filling in every box. They're gonna be fine with having some fun and starting with everybody else in place.
Yeah, and as a Cub Scout pack, you can allow them to catch up and do things at home. This is not Scouts BSA is a little different up the troop level with signing things off and the board of reviews and all that stuff. Cub Scouts, do your best, right? And if doing your best is doing it with mom, dad, grandma, grandpa at home, great, whatever, that's fine. Dynamic recruitment's important. If somebody brings a friend in December, welcome to the back. Yeah, go ahead.
So, first, like, most of our actual input into the pack is dynamic, not.
Yeah.
And as soon as somebody puts an email down as interest, the next thing we do is like, this is coming up, please come.
Yeah.
And if we want that, we want them there. We also encourage our Cub Scouts, so our Cub Scouts engaged in our pack, we do a raffle.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's every meeting, right?
It's 3 times throughout the meeting.
And it keeps the scouts' eyeballs where they need to be. It's fantastic.
They get 2 craft tickets.
Yeah.
They wear the uniform to school, I think.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about, just again, with just always be recruiting. Don't say, "Oh my gosh, we've already started. We're closed for the year." That's not how this works. I wanted to, wrong button. Sorry. Wanted to present a new family welcoming packet to you guys. This is on the shared Google Drive. I will send an email. You'll all get a copy of it if you want. I'll go ahead and show what I have there right now. I'm also going to add these slides later on this evening and send you an email. The new family welcome guide is a great tool, again, for helping families sort of acclimatize to what this Cub Scouting thing is, what your pack is all about. Could be printed, could be a website, could be whatever, but all the things that they're going to need to know. What is scouting? Who should I be contacting when, the Cub Master, the den leader, if I have financial questions, the treasurer, whatever it is, the calendar should be part of it, fundraising information, all that stuff. I love today we can have a QR code. Here, zap this, it'll send you right to a PDF and off it goes. And I think our younger parents especially appreciate that. I'm going to give you a really quick rundown, and I'll be the first to tell you, I was accused of having way too much information. And sometimes I would offer this up and somebody would say, "Oh my gosh, I'm never going to read this. This is 14 pages long, Mike. What are you doing?" And I had other people say, "Are you in the military? This is amazing. Thank you." So it goes both ways, right? But it's all about, welcome to scouting. What is scouting? What is the Cub Scout program? This was again 8 years ago, sorry. What are the other programs you can look forward to? You could throw Sea Scouts in there. What is a den? What is a pack? How does this work? I even put in this chart, which is an eye bender, and people gave me a hard time about this, but this is my dream for a Cub Scout pack, to have all these adult volunteers and have all that in there, right? Who are we attached to, right? And this was also modified by Heather, so we'll get to the part that's really funny later. How does council work? This is actually outdated, by the way. What is the advancement? Bobcat, lion, tiger, what are these things? Lay it out for them. You're in 2nd grade, you're doing this. You're in 4th grade, you're doing this. What we do every year. We do Pinewood Derby, we do Blue and Gold, we do fundraisers, we do service projects, we go to summer camp. 1 page, right? It's probably too much, but whatever. We are a family program. Bring everybody. Could be older, could be younger. Come to den meetings, come to pack meetings. We'd love to see you at our planning meeting, right? I even encourage people to go to roundtable. Here's my, what does it cost turn to page 6 or whatever it is. I'm sorry for the sticker shock. This was like 8 years ago. It's different now. We laid it all out. What did I tell you? Next page. How do we pay for it? That's the title of the page. How do we pay for it? How do we do fundraisers? What do the fundraisers go towards? All that stuff. We have a supplies checklist. When somebody goes to the scout shop and says, I have a brand new tiger, what do I need? I have no idea. Here's the stuff that you need. Even better, the page and where to get it, right? After that, I had images. And more importantly, because we had some tiger mom bought all the patches, including tiger and everything else. Okay, the ones in red you need now. The rest of them they'll get later. Don't worry about it. We're giving to you, right? Where do you sew these things on? Where do these things go? Which pocket? Right? Bolded and red are the only patches you need to buy because you don't know when you walk in there. This is my favorite part. I actually authored a leader guide where the person's name started with what you do. So if it was for 383, I'd say Patrice is our Cub Master, phone number, email, and I would give Patrice about a 2-sentence bio. And I tried to be funny. My best one was Daryl Crossman. He was my advancement coordinator. You'll never catch him without a cup of coffee in his hand. True story. All the way down. And I would go and I would farm photos off of Facebook, LinkedIn. I don't care. I'm gonna find it. Or hey, Patrice, smile, click. Boom, I have a picture because then somebody knows what Patrice looks like. And if you're missing from a pack meeting because you had to be at Wood Badge or whatever, next week, next month, oh, that's Patrice. Awesome. And they get to know you and they get to know something funny about the fact that Daryl always has a cup of coffee in his hand. I had a little fun with that. So again, this is the Simpsons version. It's entertaining. And I will also mention, for what it's worth, there is a Word doc version of this. This is the PDF. If you wish to borrow it and make it your own, you may. You just make a copy. Very end, of course, this was again 8 years ago. We had a list of links. Today, you could have a QR code that sends them to places. To follow up on the how do you communicate, we used a wiki, which, oh my God, 2003 called, they want their internet back. Just put anything that would be useful, right? And then my favorite is some notes here and stuff. This was designed, the very last page, for a parent or grandparent to fill out and put on the refrigerator. My son or daughter is a Weeblos. My den number is 8, all the way down. When do they meet? Who's the phone number? Pack 1, 2, 3. Our district, the whole bit, right? And it just answers questions. Go ahead. Ooh, awesome. Yeah, I love, yeah. Patrice will share that at some point. Awesome. And as mentioned, this is the Google Drive. I'll put the slides on there later. Here's the Word document version. If you wish, make it your own. Feel free. It probably took a good couple months and iterations to get to the point where we had it pretty well dialed in. It takes time. But in my opinion, it's one of the things that really makes people feel welcome is to have something that they can say, here's everything I need to know. I want to go back to when you coordinate and talk to folks. Join nights versus open house, right? A join night is something that's more directed. We have events. You're going to be here for an hour. Your kid's going to be just doing stuff, and then we're going to go talk. Versus an open house being, we'll be here for a couple hours, stop in when you have time. It is debated what works best. Whatever works for your pack and your families is what you should be angling towards, or even maybe doing one of each. I don't know. And my message here is one of the first recruitment events I did for my pack, nobody showed up. And so we said, well, it's not working. We're going to try something else. That's my encouragement. Think about what's not working. How do we shift? How do we go to something that does work? And maybe you don't know what's going to work yet, but if you try something different, you'll stumble into it. All right. I know we're going a little long, but Dave has a good thought experiment for us. You get a lead. Let's say somebody reaches out to you on your PAC's Facebook page. I have a second grader. We're interested in scouting. His name is Tommy. You have an email address and a phone number. What do you do? Okay.
Provide some basic information, invite them to the next big meeting and schedule a time for a phone call if possible.
I think you wrote my next slide in the back. Yeah. Okay.
Be careful with email. A lot of families, even if they provide email, don't act.
Yeah.
So
So
if you send them an email, my thing is always to also text. Be like, it was great to hear from you. I sent you an email with lots of information. I'd love to have.
so do you start with a text and then send an email, or the other way around?
I usually start with the text. A lot of families just do not use email at all. And
Yeah.
so if I don't hear back from them, I'll send them an email then. Be
I
like,
think-
"Hey, I sent you an email.
Right.
I've now sent you an email, you know.
What I found somewhat recently is the younger and younger the parents are that we're communicating with, and they're in their late 20s sometimes, right? Maybe even mid-20s, who knows? Less likely to respond to email, right? So a text is good. Although I've also experienced people who will not respond to a text or a phone call if they don't know the number. Hi, my name is Josh. Don't delete
Wait, the
me.
texts are,
Right?
this is Josh from, you know, if they
Right,
reach
yeah,
out to
yeah.
us from Pack one, blah, da, da, da.
I'm responding to, right? Yes.
And you use their kid's name if we know it. That's like
Ah,
the cheat code.
There you go.
And I do say Cub Scout Pack 718.
Oh,
Yeah.
A lot of them aren't gonna know what Pack 718.
Yeah, what's a pack exactly? Yeah, new family packet, you can send it to them directly. It's sort of a marketing tool. Be ready to answer any questions they might have, some of the questions we talked about, and it could be during any time of the year, right? Today, it's a little bit easier for a scout to register, I'm told. There are still some challenges. You don't have to have paper, QR code, or send them to beascout.scouting.org. Here's our pack. Click to sign up. And all they got to do is make an account and off they go. Most importantly, if you don't hear back, be persistent. Not annoying, right, Josh? Just every once in a while, hey, I haven't heard back from you. We didn't see you. My son.
But it was disturbing when I was membership chair, the
Yeah.
number of units that would get a lead, send an email, and never think of it again.
Yes.
Be like, if they were interested in scouting, they would give to us. And life's busy. And over half the people that I eventually landed in the pack didn't answer at first,
Yeah.
or they're like, oh, maybe, you know, they said they'd come to the next pack meeting and they didn't.
Right.
Put them on a spreadsheet and with a note of talk to them again.
Right.
in the middle of
Reach
April,
out.
Talk it again in October.
So my example for this is about 8 years ago, I had a family reach out to me with 2 boys that wanted to join. This is before girls were even welcome, maybe 9 years ago. And this person, dad, actually reached out to a whole series of packs in the neighborhood in Beaverton. We were the only one that reached out in return. Okay, I guess we'll join you. And they had a great, and they're up in Scappoose now. And as far as I know, they're still scouting. So be persistent, don't let it go. Track those leads. I like to use a spreadsheet because then I have all the emails in one column. I like to have phone numbers. You can do it however you want. It could be a Word document, it could be a shared thing, it could be a Google sheet, whatever. But capture it consistently, keep records and come back to it. I've had people come back a year later after they first arrived. Again, they didn't join the first time, they joined a year later after, oh, Melissa, you're back. I remembered her, right? And all our information was there. Okay, are you ready to join? No, yes, the kids are ready to join. Great, perfect. Follow up with the reads regularly, the text message we talked about. I like to write notes. We saw this person at back to school night, and then we didn't see them, and they didn't respond to my email. Well, are they ghosting me, or do they just need more encouragement, right? Good.
Something a parent suggested to me that we're trying brand new this year is, like, she was looking at my list and she said, oh, I know this person. I need to
Ah,
talk to them. So
yes.
she said, well, why don't you send that list to the whole pack? Because
Okay.
I'll tell people, ask all your friends.
Who knows this family,
So
right?
if I send out the list, say,
Yeah.
this list, see if there's anybody you know, and then you go out.
I would at least-
Because you know them.
I would at least share it with your leadership team.
Okay.
I don't want it to go necessarily because there's some, contact information there,
Oh.
but unless there's somebody that's like, hey, I know a lot of the families in this school, I think that would be worthwhile to say, yeah. There's definitely something to think about sharing the information we gather. Because when I go to like a back to school night or a meet your teacher social, I'm bringing the grid, your name, your kid's name, your kid's grade, what teacher, blood type, everything. I want everything, right?
I didn't send
Yeah, at least the contact where we met them and what their email address is. Most importantly, and I had this happen a number of times. My pack met on Tuesdays, and oh my gosh, soccer is Tuesday. You know what? There's a pack down the street that meets Wednesday, and they're great. Let me help you with that because we're all friends here. And at the end of the day, if they're having a good time with Cub Scouts, we might meet them in a troop someday. And the more scouts, the better. We talked about the new member coordinator. We talked about what they did. Thank you for filling this in. Point of contact for your pack, hopefully, with the new people, especially. Maybe they don't even wear a tan uniform. And this is a hotly debated topic right now with a lot that's going on. I won't get into it too much, but there are communities that don't love to see the uniform. T-shirts, pack t-shirt, pack 1, 2, 3, whatever. Maybe especially if you're out doing some stuff out in the community, trying to drum up interest. I know that we would love to see more tan uniforms out in the world. And there's a good example of this. Rudy, what was his last name? Rudy, I can't remember his name. Tried to start a pack at 185th and Walker is the elementary school right there is McKinley. It's BSD school. And they found that there was a large Somali population of people who'd come as refugees. No uniforms. Not okay. And they learned that real quick. As soon as they adopted a t-shirt, the kids were having a great time and they built that community. So figure out what works for you. Be outgoing, be friendly. We've already covered this. The people person, right? Thank you for having all this. When you get a new family, I love to have I'm an engineer, I'm a process kind of person, right? Have a process, have a checklist. Do they have the application ready? Did they get their fees in? Is there anything that your pack has for pack dues? Do they get a t-shirt? I love giving a new Cub Scout a pack t-shirt and their handbook. That's like, and now we'll see you on Tuesday, right? Introduce them to the den leader, right? Here's your new Cub Scout. Awesome. Yay. Here we go. Introduce the den leader. Confirm that they're in Scout Book Plus. I think that's automatic now, but it used to be we had to put them in manually. It's automatic. Okay. Make sure they get in there, right? There's definitely okay, and assign them to a den. Thank you. Perfect. Assign them to which den they're going to be in. You might need to give the parents a little overview because the parents can be on Scout Book, right? This is how this works. This is how we use it. This isn't how we use it, whatever. I love the talent survey. I would print them out in droves, give them out to anybody who would take one, and it let me know, oh, John has a van and he's willing to drive to summer camp. Yes, right? Or you set that expectation. Here's a survey. I'd love to get it back from you next week. Because it takes like what, 10 minutes to fill it out? I love soccer. I have a truck. I like camping. I hate camping, whatever it is. And then just it's no big deal. There's no commitment. So part of it is just the way that you present it. We got to a point, and especially in fall, where we would actually hand out blank med forms and say, hey, in a month, AB only, right? Wherever we go, if we're going to go visit the zoo, if we're going to go on a hike, we're going to take med forms with us. And we want to make sure that everyone's covered. Just bring back a med form. And then you've got a good start for summer camp. And they're not like, oh my gosh, med forms. No, just got to do part C. And you can start reminding them in February, March, whatever. Then you do that and start looking for those volunteers. Who's your next Cub Master? Who's your next committee chair? Where's your next advancement chair going to come from? Because give them some time to settle in. But oh my gosh, this conveyor belt goes quickly. You all know this, right? It goes fast. You got to find the next person to do things. Finally, retention, because keeping the scouts that you have is easier than finding new ones. You've already sold the program in your pack on the families that you have now. Build your community, again, with being friendly and having activities. Follow up with scouts that aren't attending. And maybe we know that Susie has soccer in the fall, so she'll be back in November. We know Timmy does baseball, whatever. One of the best things, in my opinion, many things that Daryl Crossman did an amazing job was he had a spreadsheet where he had every scout in every event, and he would just go through and who's here, who's not here. And every planning meeting we go through, well, who's been missing for a few weeks? Do we need to reach out? What's going on? Because it's easy to miss it, even if you're a den leader. Oh, I haven't noticed that John's been gone for 3 weeks. What happened, right? Maybe there's a good reason, but just know that. And we'll skip the questions because it's getting late. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. If you build an awesome program and you welcome those families, they will come. They will be part of your program. That's my pitch. If you want to stick around and chat, I'm going to be here for a little while, and hopefully
Do we have to get out of the building at 8:30?
9. I got it till 9. Haven't had any questions from the online gang. Hopefully everything's good. I don't know. It's all good. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording as well.
Needless Woods.
Yes.